Okay, good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm quite good.
Okay, great. Do you have some questions about what we did last week? So last week I was asking you to create some sort of diagrams, yeah, or pictures or anything that can help you understand research process. What are some of the process being involved when you do research? Yeah, so thank you for that. I have already looked at the folder and some of you have already submitted their work there. So thank you for that. Just in case, before we start, while waiting for the students, for all the students to attend, yeah. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you would like to say or you would like to ask regarding what we have learned so far in the Introduction to Research Methods class? All right, so if you do not have any questions, I guess I will just start with the materials for today. Today we're going to look at research problems, yeah? Because when you want to do research, of course, you need to know the topic. What are you going to research on? Yeah. First is, of course, you brainstorm some ideas. Yeah. So these materials are taken from the textbooks that I have already posted in Sejar. So you can also read the whole chapter there. But what I put in the slides are the important things that I think you need to know. So the first one is brainstorming ideas. Yeah, first you have to gather different kind of ideas. You need to know what you're going to do. So the subject of the research and why. This is very important. Usually the question from a reader or from your teacher, let's say, would be why you're going to do this. Why is this very interesting? It it provides legitimate reason. Ya, jadi nggak bisa kalau misalnya ngarang aja, maksudnya, oke, aku suka dengan K-pop, and then I will research K-pop. But why? Is there any academic research reason behind it? Yeah. So the reason why it is very necessary, not just interesting, but also necessary and interesting, and how you're going to do it. So you have to already think about the methods that you will do, and also when you're going to do it. So think about the timeline, because then it will give you some sort of ideas of how big the research is going to be. Misalnya thesis, ya, thesis kan diberi waktu misalnya, I don't know, like 1 semester, so 4 months or 5 months. So it has to be something that is big enough, ya. Karena kalau dibandingkan dengan research paper, misalnya di kelas gitu, itu misalnya waktunya hanya 2 minggu, ya, scope-nya jadinya lebih kecil. Tapi kalau thesis, because you have longer time, then the size of the project should be pretty big. Yeah, jadi when you're going to do it, the timeline. Okay. So this is what I took from your assignment last week. Ya, ini salah satu karya kalian. So the person was creating this infographic to explain the research process. Jadi ini sebagian besar dari kalian memang seperti ini ya. So this is a good example, I guess. Topics, you should choose the topic first, and then you know the significance and objective. making hypothesis and designing the method, and then you collect data, and then you process and analyze the data, and then writing the report. Jadi secara garis besar memang seperti itu ya, pilih topiknya, kemudian tujuan penelitiannya apa, hipotesa dan metodenya seperti apa, lalu mengambil data, memproses data, menganalisanya, dan kemudian menuliskan reportnya atau melaporkannya. So that's very important. Ya, jadi seperti itu. Sekarang yang mau kita amati ya, mau kita dami hari ini adalah tentang ini misalnya objectives ya, objectives, research questions, research problems, kemudian hypothesis. Itu bisa dijadikan satu. Okay? So you can say it's objectives or research questions or research problems or hypothesis. Yeah, so both, I mean, all of those things can fall into one category. This is a more complicated structure of research project, but you can also notice that the elements are somehow similar. Okay, so it's an investigation of problem, and then exploring the methods, and also, so methods is very important, and then writing the report. Yeah. Another important thing that you should look at from this structure is this one, theoretical background. Jadi harus ada teori yang mendukung, harus ada previous studies yang bisa membantu analisa kalian. Tapi itu next step ya. Sekarang kita masih bicara tentang research problem dulu. Itu research problem itu seperti apa dan bagaimana kita bisa memformulasikannya, gitu ya. That's what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's go here. Definitions and also descriptions of research problems. Research problem can be based on a question, unresolved controversy or a gap in the knowledge, or an unrequited need within the chosen subject. Jadi pertanyaannya itu kalau bisa yang menarik dan sesuatu yang belum pernah digali gitu ya. And how do you find this? You choose a subject and then use your critical thinking and think about things that have not been discussed before or need to be discussed more in that subject. And we can have one big main questions, and then we start with, and then we continue by making or by formulating a more specific research questions. So yeah, this is what is meant here. Yeah, so start with something general, and then the specific research problem can be formulated later. And how will you develop problems? You should know that the question is worthy of investigation. So interesting, original, and operationalable. That means it can be, it is doable, ya. Jadi bisa dianalisa. Jadi jangan pertanyaan yang terlalu abstrak gitu, nanti kita akan bingung menjawabnya. You can also try to replicate someone else's work, perhaps to challenge it. So kita tidak harus come up with something very new out of the blue gitu ya, yang sangat spektakuler belum pernah dibahas sebelumnya, itu mungkin akan sedikit membebani for some students or beginner researchers. Aduh, apa ya yang belum pernah diteliti orang gitu ya. Jangan berpikir seperti itu, tapi bisa juga mulai dari membaca karya orang lain, kemudian kita lihat research questions mereka apa. Terus kalau ternyata research questions itu masih cukup menarik dan bisa dilihat sisi-sisi lainnya, bisa kita jadikan sebagai inspirasi. Jadi ini yang dinamakan dengan replicating someone else's work. So you read someone else's work, and then you try to develop from there. Nah, tips dari saya, kalau misalnya nanti menulis skripsi atau research, membuat research paper gitu ya, yang dibaca itu adalah artikel jurnal yang sudah dipublikasikan. Karena kalau sudah dipublikasikan itu adalah tulisan yang sudah pernah direview, diperiksa oleh orang-orang banyak ya. Kalau kalian ngambilnya itu dari skripsi kakak kelas gitu, itu nanti levelnya ya gitu-gitu aja ya, karena yang kalian jadikan acuan belum pernah dipublikasikan. Jadi bacanya sekarang bukan artikel-artikel sembarangan, tapi usahakan artikel-artikel yang ada dalam jurnal-jurnal yang bermutu gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya mau replicating someone else's work, you replicate something that is good. Nah, ini yang sering digunakan juga ya, istilah ini niche. Niche itu adalah peluang ya, atau sebuah ceruk atau sisi lain gitu dari apa yang sudah pernah dibahas sebelumnya. So you have to be very critical, use your critical thinking to really analyze the situation. Jadi misalnya topiknya tentang sesuatu yang sederhana, itu nggak apa-apa, asalkan kalian menemukan niche-nya, apa yang belum pernah dibahas gitu. So we will practice this one, some strategy to develop questions. And what you need to do is create the main question first, and then later on you can split them down. So you can split them down into several smaller or more overarching questions, more detailed questions. So you can focus on different aspects. You can focus on perspective of different group. You can investigate different concepts or questions from different scales, or compare the outcomes of different aspects and so on. Yeah, so these are just ideas. So for example, our school exam results through test of students' intelligence. Jadi apakah school exam itu adalah representasi nyata gitu dari students' intelligence. This is your main question, for example, and you can split it into smaller and more detailed questions. Jadi what constitute intelligence? Jadi kita akan menjawab ini dulu, yang dinamakan intelligence itu apa. Kemudian cara-cara testing intelligence itu apa gitu ya, karena pertanyaan besarnya tentang tes. Jadi you want to know what ways of testing intelligence are there. Nah, karena pertanyaan besarnya ada tentang exam, maka kita perlu tahu dulu what sort of school exams gitu. Atau how do school exam criteria match those of the criteria of other intelligence tests. Jadi pertanyaan besar itu perlu, kemudian baru kita menggalinya lebih dalam dengan membuat pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang terkait dengan pertanyaan besar tersebut. Okay, so you try to answer all of the little details that might be needed to be explained further on the big question. Ini contoh lagi, jadi misalnya ini pertanyaan besarnya, I want to know the beliefs of UK primary school teachers. Now you create questions that are related to the big question, and you can also use all the WH questions or the yes or no questions that you know, like do, what, how, and why gitu ya. So everything that helps you dig deeper into the main question. And in the text or in the report later, semua pertanyaan ini kan pertanyaannya kita gunakan untuk menyusun research-nya, tapi semua ini tidak harus ditulis mentah-mentah gitu di teksnya. Kita harus bisa mengolahnya menjadi sesuatu yang compact gitu dalam report. Jadi kita harus pintar juga mengolahnya ya. What we do behind the scene might be messy. You have different kind of questions, different kind of considerations. Nah, itu ketika ditampilkan dalam report itu sudah harus rapi dan to the point. Contohnya ya, this is one of the way you can write down the research problem in the report of the research. This study examines the problem of career development of women engineers in the automotive industry in Britain. It focuses on the identification of specific barriers, established conventions, and so on, and explores blah blah blah. Ya, jadi tujuan-tujuan penelitian atau pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang dibahas dalam penelitian itu dituangkan dalam satu paragraf yang sangat efisien ini ya. Jadi tujuannya, examines the problem of career development of women. Kemudian yang dilihat adalah identification of specific barriers dan effectiveness of specific initiatives. Gitu ya. So these are actually research questions or research problems, but dikemas dalam sebuah paragraf yang berupa statement gitu. Jadi research questions itu tidak harus selalu berbentuk questions ya. Ketika kita menyusunnya boleh dalam kepala kita atau dalam coret-coretan kita itu memang questions yang eksplisit seperti ini ya, atau seperti ini ya. Tapi nanti ketika dikemas dalam tulisan itu bisa jadi munculnya seperti ini ya, dalam sebuah statement yang ringkas gitu. Okay, another way to prepare research problems itu bukan hanya dalam bentuk questions ya, tapi bisa dalam bentuk hypothesis. Jadi hipotesa. So hypothesis is more like a statement, and then usually it focuses on the interaction of certain factors and also suggesting the methods. So menunjukkan interaction of factors and also methods. And the example is like this. The intelligence of students can be measured. Tests have been devised to accurately measure levels of intelligence. School exams contain suitable tests to measure. Nah, ini adalah hipotesa utama yang atas ini, dan yang ini adalah hipotesa yang lebih mendetail. Gitu. Jadi ini sebenarnya juga membicarakan research problems, tapi tidak dikemas dalam bentuk question, tapi mereka mengemasnya dalam bentuk hipotesa. Bisa juga research problems itu dikemas dalam bentuk propositions. Ya. When you use propositions, it concentrate on relationships. Ya. Ini contoh dari propositions. Okay, let's look at this one. The recommendations and standards are not based on an accurate perception of the needs of disabled people. Berarti recommendation tidak berdasarkan pada accurate perception. So it's relating recommendation and also accurate perception. Kalau yang ini relating design public sector with government recommendations. Yeah. So you can use propositions as well to create research problems. Do you know what I mean? So let's go back again just to make sure. When you design research problems, you can use questions, you can use hypothesis, or you can use propositions. Yang paling sering dipakai adalah research questions ya, karena itu lebih to the point, lebih gampang untuk diformulasikan. Sekarang kita masuk ke poin ini, operationalizing the questions or problems. Jadi bagaimana kita bisa kita bisa bekerja operationalizing ya, bekerja secara nyata dengan questions itu. Oke. You have to find a way to address the questions. You have to think of what kind of data you will use, how you will collect the data, and how you will analyze it. Jadi, what type of data, how to collect the data, and how to analyze it. For example, let's have a look at this research question. What reasons do French teachers working in UK primary schools give for the teaching of French to year 6 primary school children? It suggests that the researcher would elicit data, for example, might ask teachers a set of interview or questionnaire questions, which together, if properly analyzed, would address this research question. Ya, jadi kalau research questionnya seperti ini, gimana cara menjawabnya? Oh, karena dia ingin tahu reasons, ya. Berarti yang dia lakukan harus menginterview French teachers. So the data would be interview transcripts, gitu ya, and then collecting data by using questionnaire, and also interview, and then we'll analyze it in a certain way. Okay. And then the researcher must understand, because it's based on an interview, then it will be reported beliefs, ya. Karena kita menanyai guru-guru itu apa yang mereka percayai, gitu ya. So it's what they believe. It's not necessarily very objective, but it's based on what the teacher say. Nah, kalau misalnya researchernya bilang, tapi aku nggak mau yang reported belief, nah, then he or she needs to create another way to collect data. Misalnya observations, gitu ya. Karena dia nggak mau itu jawabannya, datanya itu nanti adalah reported beliefs, tapi dia mau sesuatu yang lebih objektif. Itu, okay, I will do observation in the classroom. Gitu ya. So, use the research questions to really think about the operationalization of your research. Jadi bagaimana research itu nanti berkembang gitu. Jadi research questions or research problems are very important in the beginning because they will let you know how you will conduct your research. Okay, so this topic is about implications of your research questions for data collection and analysis. This is almost similar, actually. Everything that you write down in the research questions will really determine your data collection and also data analysis. For example, are authentic materials more effective in bringing about learning than materials written specifically for the language classroom? Jadi nanti dalam research-nya tentunya kita akan mengkaji authentic materials, kemudian materials written specifically for language classroom. Jadi ada dua jenis materials yang akan dikaji dalam penelitian, ya. Kemudian harus membahas effectiveness, and also harus membahas concept of learning and the effectivity of learning. Gitu. So that's the implication of having this kind of research questions. Okay, now we look at the second one. Look at this for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then I will want one of you to try to speculate on what are the implications of having this research questions. Okay, have a look at it for 2 minutes. Okay, so anyone? How do white female British university students construct their femininity in informal situations and talk with the same-sex peers? Kira-kira apa nanti implikasinya kalau ada research question-nya seperti ini? Implikasinya penulis tuh harus melihat apa aja gitu. Okay, any volunteer?
May I try?
Yes.
So the writer might have a research in white female British university student. That's the first, and then the second is femininity, and then informal situation with their same-sex peers.
Yeah, okay. So nanti data collection-nya itu akan melibatkan white female British University students. Kemudian konsep teori yang harus dilihat itu adalah femininity, kemudian informal situations talk atau conversations mungkin ya, informal situation conversations with the same sex peers, berarti kan sama ya, tetap white female British University students. Jadi kelompok respondennya cukup white female British University students, kemudian konsep teorinya adalah femininity dan juga informal conversations gitu. So that's going to be how you can proceed after you create your research questions. Now, when you have a big project and you have more than one research questions, you can keep track by creating this table. Jadi research question 1, datanya yang diperlukan apa, kemudian data collection-nya seperti apa, analisanya kira-kira gimana. Itu jadi setiap research questions harus dipikirkan bagaimana cara menjawabnya. Nanti kalau kalian mengerjakan tesis, mungkin membutuhkan yang seperti ini, karena akan punya beberapa research questions ya dalam tesis kalian. Nah, pembimbing dan penguji biasanya juga akan bertanya, research questions yang ini jawabannya apa dong? Kalau yang ini apa jawabannya? Gitu. Jadi research questions itu bukan semata-mata ditulis untuk memenuhi halaman aja ya, tapi you have to really use them to help you guide yourself in proceeding with the research gitu. Oke, ya. Sampai di sini materinya. Kalau ada pertanyaan silahkan. Yes, please. Okay, so we have questions in the chat box. Yeah. Is there any minimal number of questions? It depends on the scope of the research. Ya. Jadi researchnya besar atau kecil. If it is a small research, you can have one question. That's fine. Jadi I would say that the minimal number of question is one. Because if it is 0, then you don't have research questions. Okay, so one is enough if your research is not very big. You only want to answer one topic or one idea. Yeah, that's fine. Jadi you want to answer one research question, that's fine. But if it is a thesis, itu kan sudah lebih besar ya, seperti saya bilang tadi, waktu untuk mengerjakannya juga lebih panjang, berarti usahakan ada 2 atau 3 research questions gitu. Okay, is there any other question? Okay, so no questions. Seems that you are quite, I don't know, I hope you're not confused. Yeah, I hope your silence means that you understand this topic. Okay, you will practice formulating research questions next week. For now, what you need to do is read more about research problems, research questions, hypotheses, and so on. Other than my explanation, you have the textbooks to dig deeper about this topic. You can also read as many articles as you can in the internet. Okay, so that's all from me. I will let you know what you need to do next week through WhatsApp group. Okay, bye everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.